Hey, welcome to The Fit Life. My name is Ty Stevenson. I'm based in Auckland, New Zealand with my wife Jess and our 4 kids. I started this group to create more freedom, influence, and transformation stories. And I want to start by asking you a question. Who are you becoming? Not what are you doing or what job you would like to do, but who are you at the core? I believe our world is struggling with an identity crisis right now. And I want to challenge you. Don't define yourself by your best or worst moments of the past or even the present, but start to become dangerously obsessed with the vision, the future vision of your best self, and start to accelerate into that form. Someone with the highest level of character, gifting, love, and leadership. Can you see yourself like this? Do you have a clear vision for your life 10, 20, 30 years from now? What kind of person, spouse, friend, parent, or grandparent are you becoming? What's your spiritual life like? What's your relationships like? What's the state of your health, your fitness, and your finances? See, this is how I define the fit life. All of these areas thriving at the highest level. Many years ago, I was a frustrated electrician, grinding away on the tools, and something had to change. So my wife and I packed up our lives here, moved over to California, where we spent 3 very intentional years studying at a school of personal development. It cost us well over 6 figures, but it was the best investment we could ever make because it was an investment in ourselves and our growth. Since returning to New Zealand in 2015, I've been working full-time as a pastor and a life coach, walking with people through the best and worst of times, helping them process doubt, depression, addiction, and even divorce. I've given my life to helping people become free in all of these areas. But on the 2nd of November, 2020, a dear friend of ours gave us a very clear word that it was time for me to start something new, something entrepreneurial with finance, risk, and goals. And that's when I started looking. I was hungry and I looked at a bunch of different options and then had a lifelong friend reach out and share something with me that had been working for him for a long time already, and since then has completely changed our lives. We started subscribing to an education platform with a vision to educate, empower, and enrich the lives of 1 million people. It's been around for almost 10 years already and helped almost 500,000 people onto this journey so far. See, I believe higher education, mentorship, and the right community are the biggest keys for our growth. If I was to spend most of my time with 5 depressed, broke people with no vision, odds are I would be number 6. For most of my life, I didn't know how to properly manage finance so that I could actually put it to work for me. Instead of just trading my time for money, I've now learned how to create multiple streams of income and utilize compound interest, which Einstein dubbed the 8th wonder of the world. I'd love to show you how you can do the same. Keep a lookout for our live bootcamps that we're going to be doing here so you can see exactly how we're doing this and how you can join us and give it a go for free yourself. Once again, thank you for your time here. My name is Ty, and I'm working with some of the most intentional, successful, and generous people on the planet. What we have here might be a good fit for you. And if you're interested to find out more, get back to the person who shared this video with you or reach out to me on social media. We're all on this journey together, but there's still just that one important question for you. Who are you becoming? And what action will you take to get there? If you're ready to transform your life, then it's my great joy to welcome you to The Fit Life. All right, guys, good evening. So good to have you all with us here. I can see a whole lot more of you have logged in the last few minutes. Fun stuff. Well, I'm so stoked I was able to share that video with you. That literally just got finalized a couple hours ago. So you're the first ones to see it. Pretty happy with it. And yeah, just really excited to be able to share with you this evening. Yeah, part of my story is obviously in that video, but yeah, really pumped to be in this space to be able to help people just start dreaming bigger about finances, right? Like it's something that I didn't know much about most of my life. I thought, the only vehicle for building wealth was going to be through property. Knew a little bit about the stock market, but nothing of significant value. And so yeah, a year ago, someone invited me to log into this platform, have a little look, see what it's all about, start looking into trading. I had a little bit of an idea already from my time in America. I had a friend over there who at the time was writing trading bots, and yeah, we put some money into a fund with him, and it did all right. It made some money over 3 years, but then the exchange rate changed so radically that by the time we needed it out, we basically broke even. So I was mildly aware of the foreign exchange world, but not enough to really get into it. But yeah, so a year ago, dived into this space, started learning, and shared it with my brother and a few of my friends. They jumped in with me, and we just started this little journey together. And since then, our little group has grown to close to, I don't know, about 100 by now. And yeah, got some amazing guys in the team that are winning. They're going from demo trading to live trading. And it's just a really fun journey doing this in community with people, all with the goal of creating more freedom for ourselves, our families, and to be able to stop just trading our time for money. And so, yeah, transitioning from there, I want to show you guys one of the slides. This is something that if you've ever come across Robert Kyosaki, really brilliant man. He wrote, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's one of the first books that he's known for, but he wrote another one called the Cashflow Quadrant. And so I'm going to move this over here. Sorry, while I try to share my screen again. There we go. Let's do this. So yeah, guys, you're looking at an image right now, which is basically the cash flow quadrant. This is, 95% of the population over here on the left basically make up 5% of the wealth. And on the other side of that, you've got 5% of the population that actually make up 95% of the wealth. And it's split into these two different categories in each side. So 60% being employees. And then that's just basically straight trading your time for money. You show up to work, you get paid. And then 35% self-employed. So when I was a Sparky, eventually in the GFC, I got made redundant. So I went self-employed, started my own thing, worked for myself for a couple of years. Great freedom. I got to surf on Mondays and work when I wanted to. Life was, I didn't have a whole lot of bills back then, but at the same time, I had a whole lot of paperwork. And so self-employed, I was on that journey, but really I was just trading my time for money still. And with the goal of, leveraging it a little bit. But really, guys, the goal for us is to transition to the other side of the platform, of the quadrant. And that's where, the 5% are. So you got entrepreneurs over there who have big business and systems. Like the way I like to describe this is McDonald's, right? Almost all of you will probably agree you can make a better burger than McDonald's, but can you make a better system than McDonald's? And that's where this 4% live inside of there with big business and systems that can duplicate. And then the 1% are investors, and they've learned how to put their money to work for them. And that is the journey I've been on this past year. And so learning how to get our money to work for us is an incredible thing. And yeah, when you start to understand compound interest, it's pretty crazy. And so for most of us, compound interest is probably something that we've been paying most of our lives in the context of, whatever. It could be loans, it could be house loans or cars or whatever. But anyway, when you start to learn how to earn it, it's incredible. And so just taking a little bit of a look at the chat at the moment, make sure I'm keeping up with everyone here. So cool to see a few more of you guys jumping in, recognizing the names. Love you guys. We've got such a cool crew here. They're all together, and some guests with us this evening too. So it's really real pleasure to have you with us this evening. So where to from here, guys? So would love to just open up the space to you and just begin to take a look at what it's all about. And so let me do this again. Sorry, I'm just dragging. I've got two screens here with a whole lot of things in front of me. But the way I've been learning, let me open up this presentation here and just show you a couple more slides, because this is how I've basically been learning. And so let me do this and click here and share. Where am I? Where's it gone? Let's do that. See if that's going to work. So been learning from a platform called im.center Academy. And inside that platform, there's an incredible bunch of educators. That's where I grabbed that slide from that shows the Cashflow Quadrant. And inside of here, guys, we have the financial markets. That's where we're trading. When you think about going overseas and swapping New Zealand dollars for US dollars or whatnot, sometimes there's a difference. If you leave there and you come back, you end up trading $100 for this and that, and there can be a difference afterwards. But when you're dealing with a small amount of money, it can actually change radically when you've got large amounts of money, which most of us may not have to physically swap around all the time. And that's how the financial markets work. There's a crazy amount of money moving in there every single day. I'm going to get it wrong, but it's something like 7 trillion plus moving around all the time. And I'm going to introduce you to someone in a minute who knows these markets way better than me. He's been in the space for 20 years. But this is essentially it, guys. We come in here, I plugged in, I started learning. There's 3 aspects to this academy. Number 1 is the foundations that we get inside of the basically a thing called im.center, and that's where you log in and there's an X amount of videos that are going to teach you all about Forex, or there's a whole bunch on crypto, there's a whole lot on stocks. So you can kind of choose your lane, and then from there you've got goLIVE. So the academies there, sorry, on the left, you can see we can log in and find your videos. goLIVE is the heartbeat of this place. That's where we've got over 150 educators that are live throughout the week. You can obviously choose a strategy, log in with them. They answer 99% of the questions in the chat. So one of the educators we follow with, he's based in the UK. He's live a few mornings a week at like 5 in the morning for us, and then at night at 9. And so it works really well for me having kids. I can get in there before work or at night when the kids are in bed and actually engage, learn more from him, ask questions and have them answered. And then strategies, which we're going to show you really soon, is the scanners that he's developed, that particular educator, his intellectual property from his 17 plus years of trading and 10 of educating. He's developed a specific scanner with some signals that we get to basically follow and choose to buy or sell in the moment based on that. And so I'll show you a little bit about that in a minute. A little bit more here. We've got the FRX Academy. That's where most of us are plugged in at the moment and learning. And then from there, we've got another time-based academy, which is a little bit faster paced trading, very similar type of style to Forex. We've got the DCX Academy, which focuses on all things crypto. That's where I actually started when I got plugged in here a year ago. I learned about everything in that space, from building a portfolio to learning how to leverage trades, NFTs, DeFi, decentralized finance, all of that. An amazing space to get into if you do have some money to invest into the markets. And most of you probably know that most of the markets have been going down since November. And this is the beautiful thing. You don't have to have whatever you put. This is the way we're trading. We're actually trading in a way that doesn't matter if things are going up or down. And we'll explain that to you in a minute. When you're putting your money into something like, say, a crypto or a stock, you're only going to make money if it goes up. But what we're going to show you tonight is how it doesn't matter. It can go up or down. You can choose to buy or sell in a way that you can make gains either way. So that's a little bit about the Academy. There's the stocks and futures one that's actually launching in a couple of weeks. And like I said, goLIVE, where you can see all those educators are live throughout the week. You can choose, everything's recorded so you can catch up later. And yeah, and then all the apps and scanners, things like this, we'll show you in a couple of minutes. So let me stop sharing, come back over here. And guys, it's a great privilege for me to introduce you to someone that is part of our team. So this man has got some of the highest level of just love, leadership, and character. It's been such a joy getting to know him over the last few years. And we met at church one day and just had no idea he was in this space. Most of our conversations were actually around soccer and CrossFit. And then eventually realized that, oh, this is what he does during the day or for part of the day. And so, yeah, our conversation evolved and we got connected in this space. And so, yeah, Michael Jacobsen is part of our team. He is based in Taupo. And yeah, he's part of our team that is, excuse me, a little bit of a sore throat the last couple of days and I've got no water next to me. But thank you. There we go. Almost. Oh, wow. There we go. It's coming back. Swallowed something a bit funny. Bear with me. But it is my great privilege to introduce Michael to you. Just to share a little bit about his journey. So he's been in the space for 20 years. And yeah, he's part of our team. He's mentoring us. We're actually on Zooms together in the mornings and sometimes the evenings, trading together. And so without further ado, since my voice is dying, I would love to hand over the screen to Michael to be able to share some of his heart and his journey with you and just open up your mind to what's possible in this space. So Mike, if you can turn your camera on, I'm going to pin you here and get myself out the way. And I'm going to mute myself. So guys, drop some love in the chat. There we go. Thanks for rescuing me in my like croaky voice. Guys, yeah, drop some love in the chat. All right, go for it, man. Take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Ty. Hey, great to have everyone here tonight. And we appreciate you turning up. And it's going to be cool later. Ty is actually going to help us download a demo platform and actually begin to start trading live in the markets tonight. So like you said, I've been in the trading space for about 20 years, heard of it in university and heard it was possible to make $5,000 a night. Thought it was a joke. And in my first 2 weeks, I lost about 15,000 New Zealand dollars simply because I didn't know what I was doing. It was effectively gambling, no plan, no mentorship, no education. And just really continued to learn because I saw the potential behind it. I saw it, you actually could make money. I mean, my first trade was up, I think, $600 US dollars in about 30 minutes. So I knew there was potential, but it took a long time to actually learn how to find a correct strategy, how to manage my risk effectively. And so really just continued over a number of years and started to become successful over time. I finally found a mentor who actually told me how to manage my risk and actually began to give me some really amazing strategies, which I could have great high reward to risk in. And I started to manage funds for people. So it was really a long journey for me. And I realized now that that journey could have been a lot shorter if I had a mentor and if I had an education that was, really good. And if I had strategies that were actually trustworthy, reliable strategies. So I've been connected with im for a while, and a lot of their content, is so amazing because most of the educators are, seven-figure traders. They've got strategies that have, been proved over a number of years. And one of the things that Ty just shared was that when we think about normal markets, we think about if the market goes down, that's bad for everyone. But in fact, for traders, if the market goes up, down, or sideways, we can still make money. Because in a normal market, if you're buying, you're actually buying the underlying asset. So if you are invested in the stock market, if you buy part of that stock market, or if you buy shares, or if you buy gold, when the price comes down, your asset decreases in value if you've bought the underlying asset. However, with trading, we trade using something called CFDs, or contract for difference. And by doing that, we can actually trade with leverage. So I might only have $100 in my broker account, but the broker will actually lend me $10,000 to trade, or $20,000 to trade. So I'm effectively trading with larger amounts of money, but I can only lose that $100 I put in. And so using leverage allows us to actually build a bigger position, But with trading, you can actually short the market, which means if the market has gone extremely high, and I believe it's going to drop, I can actually sell it, even though I don't own that asset. The broker will actually lend me that asset. I can sell it at a high price. And when it drops in value, I can buy it back and I'll pocket the difference in profit. So trading, I mean, it doesn't matter if the stock market was collapsing for the last 3 weeks. We just sold it all the way down and made money. Or if it goes sideways, we can trade it sideways. So that's the beauty about trading. And in fact, something that I considered a few weeks ago was that the stock market had gone up about 15% in the past year, but those 15% gains from normal investors was wiped out within about 3 weeks. So they waited a year for the stock market to make 15%, and then it was all gone in 3 weeks. But with trading, what we do is we can actually make between 2 and 5% a day trading with leverage, whether the market's going up or whether it's going down. So my journey has been learning how to trade effectively, manage my risk, and only looking for small amounts a day. And Ty is going to show you later the power of compound interest, where as we're slowly building up our trading account over time, which is the magic formula of compound interest, your gains actually become exponential. And this is not something that's magic. It's purely based on maths. And so when we approach trading, it's definitely not a get rich quick scheme. It's get an education, understand how the markets work, and not get rich quick, but over time, if you're consistent and disciplined and patient, it's get rich for sure. But it's time, it's education, it's study. So we use leverage. We can sell short, even if we haven't got the underlying asset. And what I'm going to do is just share a couple of charts with you before Ty shares with us a strategy, and before he actually shares with us the strategy that we can trade. Now, Ty, if you can please make me host, I'm just going to share my screen and just go through just some basic ways of understanding, reading the charts, because a lot of people think it's difficult. I wouldn't know when to buy or sell. There's too many maths involved, but it's actually not that difficult. Ty, can you please just allow me to
just clicking on
share my screen?
There we go. Done. Go for it, bro.
Brilliant. Thanks. So this is an asset. This is the pound dollar. So we trade a lot of currencies, and it may look like a lot of squiggly lines, but this is actually the price of the British pound. And by looking at the chart, we can understand how the pound has increased or decreased in value. And what you'll notice is that I've drawn this bottom line here. You can see that price has clearly respected this level a number of times. And this is something that we call a place of support. So price has been supported at this level. And in fact, if we go back, we can see on the top yellow line, this is just one example, there's many here. We can see that back on the 4th of June, price was respected very strongly at that level. But coming forward 2 weeks, that same level was respected again over here. And so when we find these places in the chart, you can see that we often create ranges. So price bounced from the top, from the bottom up to the high. And so what we learn to do is find places where value is seen as either very, very cheap or very, very expensive. And we can basically buy and sell between it. So for example, if we had already seen that price had touched this value twice here, in the future, if price comes down to that place and touches it, we might have a great opportunity to buy. And from that place, price might actually bounce higher. And sure enough, in time, price came back, bounced higher, came back, bounced higher again. So when we look at historic price patterns and historic price action, we actually learn that the market moves in cycles. It actually moves in ways that are repetitious and that are very, very easy to see. So for example, another thing that a lot of traders will trade with is trend lines. And with trend lines, this is when price actually respects certain values over and over and over. So for example, we can see that price has made this high, makes another high, and as we draw a line from that point to that point, we can see that it's respected again, one more time, and then when price breaks through that, it's off to the races. And so these trend lines, what we call dynamic support, And we can see that price will often respect them over and over and over. You can see here, if we draw a trend line from this point to this point here, we can see that price comes back a third time and respects it again. So for many people, this is a place where we would buy again. And sure enough, price goes up a lot higher. And then when price breaks a trend line, as you can see there, let's just remove that line there, that circle. You can see that when price breaks a trend line, we have the beginning of a downtrend. So the market structure breaks, and that is indicated by that huge selling on that red candle. And sure enough, we go into a downtrend. And this same thing is repeated over and over and over. We can put a trend line across there. We can basically map the market. And in fact, we had a bounce up today. We're very, very close. You can see that. 1, 2, 3, and it immediately bounced higher. So this is one of the ways that we use to identify market structure. And Ty's actually going to share with us a strategy that we can actually use today, begin using today, because it's actually not as complicated as it seems. It's basically learning to recognize patterns, learning to recognize when price is cheap and buy it, and when price is too expensive, we sell it. So Ty, if you can just give us a rundown on the dynamic edge strategy that we use, because over the last 20 years, I've used a number of strategies. I've lost a lot of money, I've made a lot of money, but the strategy that one of the strategies that we use at im Academy through one of the professional traders is actually one of the best strategies I've ever used. What it allows us to do is have very, very small risk on our trades. And if we're correct, we can let those trades run. And instead of just having 2-to-1 reward to risk, sometimes we can have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to 1. So we're risking 1% to make 10%. And that's not just done in 2 weeks or a month. That can be done within a day. So we're learning to trade from lower timeframes, and we're learning to hold runners on a higher time frame. So Ty, if you can just run us through that strategy and share what you've got next for us.
Will do, man. Thank you. Can you give me the host back, please? And then I will do that. There we go. I think I'm here. So yeah, guys, I want to show you the dynamic edge. And I've also got one more really amazing guy in our team to share a brief story with you. So let me do this. We're talking about compound interest. So I'm going to show you that first. Let me do a quick screen share again and show you what I'm talking about when I talk about compound interest, because that is profound. And so let me do this and click share. So now you should be able to see my screen over here. Guys, I'll drop this in the chat so you can actually go to this website and mess around with it yourself with the numbers. So it's in the chat there. All this is a compound interest calculator. So say you were starting out, there we go, you can start with whatever. There's no minimum, there's no maximum. When you open up a demo account, the minimum in there is 3,000, but when you load an actual account, you can start with anything. So let's put $500 in here. And then if you were to trade, every day, if you were to trade every day of the week and your goal was 2% a session, which, none of us are trading every single day. You can, but most of us don't. So I have a weekly goal rather of 14%, and I'll show you how realistic that is pretty soon. So if I put in here 14% and I change this to weekly and across 1 year, and if we basically choose to not pull anything out and just let the gains compound, you're going to see where $500 goes at 14% a week or 2% a day after a year. So I'm going to hit calculate. Basically, let me get this in the right place. $500, 2% a day gets you after a year to 688,000. And so you can see down here below like monthly breakdowns, right? So after the first month, you've made $97. And let me get this right. Total earnings there, your new balance goes up to $597. The next month, your earnings, because it's compounded, because that 2% that you're choosing to risk each time to then make 2%, every time you're risking 2%, every next day, that little 2% is actually a larger amount. And so it just begins to compound. So you can see month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, and that balance starts to get exponentially larger. So if I went weekly, you can see even, or daily, you can see on a daily level, initially you're risking $10. So of that 500, you're not putting all 500 into a stock that could go up or down. You're only putting in $10 on a particular trade, but the goal being to make $10 that day one. So 510 is your balance after day one. 5, 20, and 20 cents is day 2. And you can see how just by doing this over and over and over again every day or every week, how your balance is just going to consistently grow. And so that's basically compound interest, guys. That's what we're doing here. Our money is in our account with our broker. We get to decide how much we're going to place on a trade every single time. And the recommendation is never more than 2%. Like, it's actually really conservative. And so I want to show you that just so you can get an idea of what compound interest is all about. I want to stop sharing my screen. And I want to introduce you guys to Marc, who happens to be my brother's brother-in-law, to get it right. And we just became uncles all over again yesterday because my brother and his sister, who I married, just had their second baby. So Marc has been in our team for a while. He started learning Dynamic Edge probably about 3 months ago, but I'll let him tell the story. So Marc, let me find you on here. I'm going to make you the host. There you are. I'm going to put you here. If you can unmute yourself. Guys, drop some love in the chat for Marc. And yeah, man, take it away. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Is the mic on?
Yeah, perfect, man. We can hear you.
Oh, sweet. Oh, picture's pretty dark, but that's all good. Oh, hey, everybody. I'm Marc. As Ty said, I'm his brother's brother-in-law. So we're kind of like brother-in-laws twice removed or something like that. And so just as he said, about 3 months ago, I started with Dynamic Edge. I actually first signed up on im Academy back in, I think it was July last year. I started off with some DCX stuff. I got in on a little bit of crypto and kind of left it there. After a while, I just decided that I wanted to try something else and looked into the whole compound interest thing that Ty was talking about. Obviously, we've had a few chats over the past few months about all this kind of stuff, obviously at the moment, especially in New Zealand, don't know about wherever you guys are, but cost of living, inflation, all that stuff is just hitting the old back pocket pretty hard, and it's a bit hard to keep up with it. It made me think, if ever I really want to get a bit of financial freedom to travel, to get my own house, dream house where kids can grow up and all of that stuff, you can't just rely on a day job anymore. It's just not possible, especially if there's only one out of a couple in the family that is actually working. Like as myself, I'm the only one working. My wife's a stay-at-home mum with 3 kids, so it's just not possible to get ahead. So I needed to find something else, and hopefully crypto will be there eventually. Once it starts to climb back up, but we're not quite there yet. But we'll just watch this space. But Dynamic Edge was pretty much something that I discovered. Actually, I think the first person I heard it from was Steve Coleman. Some of you guys might know Steve Coleman. He's one of the chairmen. I think he's a chairman who first started talking to me and Ty about im Academy and all of this, and just the way he showed it. He did a couple of demo videos on YouTube. I think they're still up there with Dynamic Edge. It just seemed really straightforward, really simple, and something that I could learn because it had a very specific set of rules. Follow the rules, and if you follow the rules, basically, more times than not, you should be able to get some pips. And then about 3 months ago, I started hopping online with James Leone, who's the guy who invented Dynamic Edge, and he does about 3 sessions a week where he'll just do lessons, demonstrations about how to best use it. People have questions about historic trades. He doesn't do any live trading. Obviously, that's not something that happens on IM. But if people have had good trades or bad trades, he'll tell them what they did right, what they did wrong. So I was doing demo trading for about just under 3 months. One of my problems is that when it's not real money, I tend to behave differently than if it was real money. And I don't know about you guys, because I know that, with demo, you should act as if it's the real thing, because that's how you become disciplined. But it's just, there's something in my brain. And when it's really my cash that's in there, then I feel like I'm a lot more cautious, I suppose. And it's very easy to get carried away when you've got a demo account with thousands of dollars in it, and you want to stake ridiculous amounts and all of that. So it's a little bit difficult to really be fully into it in that mindset when it's pretend money, because when it's pretend money, it's like a video game, even though you're practicing. So I actually went live just over a week ago. There are guidelines as to how consistent you should be before you go live, and I'm definitely not quite there yet. I'm not as consistent as I would like, and it's just a mindset thing. It's a discipline thing. There's a very clear-cut set of rules, as some of you guys who have seen previous demo videos know. There's about 6 steps to follow, 6 rules, criteria to tick off before you enter a trade in order to have a really strong trade, and a couple of other things that James Leone goes over in his lessons. And yeah, it's easy to get carried away and say, oh, I reckon this one will be good enough. But at the end of the day, you go for the sell or you go for the buy, and you see it go maybe a little bit your way and then right back. But the good thing is that it is low risk, as Michael said, low risk with the potential of really high returns. And so I've started with live account. Basically, the way I've mitigated that whole risk is just, and lack of consistency, is just to make really, really small risk, smaller than I would normally do. Normally I'd want to do 1 to 2% risk for each trade. I'm doing even less than that. I'm still, kind of about breaking even, but there's definitely some discipline issues there. So discipline is a big thing. I think it's the biggest thing, getting your emotions out of the way and just being stone cold. And I think that's probably the hardest thing for almost everyone. I don't know about you guys, but that's definitely it for me. But I can see how much potential this has. I can see that I have gotten better in the past 3 months. And sometimes I make good trades, and it's just lovely to see it run up. And when something with such low risk, gets you such good returns, it's pretty exciting. Although one thing that James Leone says is that it shouldn't be exciting. It should be boring as watching paint dry. When you're trading consistently enough that you're at that point, that means you're pretty much on a good level. And yeah, all grass grow. That's right, Happy. So yeah, and that's pretty much where I'm at. I've got a long way to go. I'm looking forward to continuing this journey with everyone in this group, in this team. I know we're all at different levels here. Some of us have 20 years or plus experience, and some of us have just gotten a subscription and started looking at the lessons and are just starting to learn about what trend lines and candles are. So there's a big range, but hopefully we can all support each other and help each other out and lift each other up, because we all got different goals, but at the end of the day, these goals have to do with spending less time working and grinding, and more time having the freedom to do what we want to do in our lives, whatever that may be. Personally, I want to travel. I want to be able to take my family around the world without limits. I love going to different places. My wife's from Laos, and I lived in Laos for about 4.5 years before I came back to New Zealand. So it's about freedom, and I guess freedom is in the title of this team, the Fit Team. Yeah, that's one of the main goals. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to share. Just keen on continuing this journey with everyone in this team, and yeah, getting good at it. Back to you, Ty.
Nice one, Mark. Bro, thank you so much. So good to have you part of the team, and just appreciate your honesty, bro. Like, I love it. Like, not all of us nail this in the first 2 months, and that's part of the journey is just discipline, mindset. I've heard Michael say on one of our calls before, like, this is 80% mindset, 20% skill. And so thankfully a lot of our team meetings and things that we do together involve a lot of mindset training. Anytime we have a team Zoom on a Tuesday night, Michael usually will come and bring in some of that, and all our live educators too. James, when he's live, normally starts with mindset training, because that is it, actually believing, taking on the identity of a trader, not like I'm going to learn how to trade and see how it works. No, I actually am a highly successful trader and I'm on my learning journey. And so we all start somewhere. And so, yeah, same as Mike, we both dived into DCX originally, learned about crypto and transitioned, January-ish into this space. And it's been amazing. So same as Mike, I went live about 2 months. I was already had a live account from DCX and was doing some leverage trading there, and then swapped over to Forex. And so without any more delay, guys, I'd love to get you guys set up to do this. So I am going to invite you guys, if you haven't already, to download an app. And this is going to take a minute, and then I'll show you the scanner, and I'd love to actually show you exactly how to push some buttons so that you can see how easy this can be. And so go to your app store, whether you're on Apple or Android, and download an app called MetaTrader 4. If you haven't got it already, MetaTrader 4, and I'll give you a moment to do it. And I've got tutorials that I'm actually going to, little 5-minute video tutorials that I'm going to drop in our chat here that you can take home and go have a little walkthrough, because it's going to show you exactly how to set it up. So there's one there for Apple, and there's one here for Android as well that some of our team members have put together. And so I'll walk you through some of the basics this evening. But basically, once you download the app, so there, that first one I pushed there was Apple, and the second one I believe was Android. So yeah, and I'll post those in the video description below if you're watching this recording later, so that you can have those little walkthroughs. But essentially, all it looks like once you have downloaded MetaTrader 4, and it shouldn't take you more than 30 seconds for that app to show up, you're going to open the app. And I'm going to put the scanner in front of us in a second so you can actually see what it is we're looking at. But when you open up MetaTrader 4, you are going to have at the bottom, you're going to see something to the effect of quotes and trade and a chart. But the settings button is what you want to push straight away. So when you push settings, it's going to give you the option really close to the top to say, it'll say new account. You're just going to click on new account. And then underneath your account, you're going to see open a demo account. And I'm looking at an Apple right now. It should be very similar to you on an Android. So then all you're going to do is in the top box there, you're going to search basically a broker that you can decide to go with. So one that I know works really well as a demo option is one called fxpro.com. So in that search box, you're just going to put an FX, all one word, PRO, and then you're going to get about 4 options that show up, and it'll say fxpro.com demo 1, 4, 5, 6. For whatever reason, they're all a little bit different, but choose number 5. Choose FX Pro Demo 5. This gives you the options to actually do leverage trading with crypto and also Forex pairs, indices, all the ranges. So you're then going to see a menu that pops up, and hopefully you guys are tracking with me and I'm not going too fast. But once you're at the next page, it's just going to ask you for your name. You can basically name your demo account whatever you want. You can put your name there. You can say, for me, it says Ty Dynamic Edge, because that's what I'm trading on. And you can put a name and an email address. And at the bottom, it's going to say account type demo USD. So I keep mine in USD, and then leverage as an option. It's got 1 to 1 all the way through to 500. For me, it's 1 to 200. So you can choose whatever you like, but I like to go with 1 to 200. And then in the deposit amount, you're going to choose a value that you're most likely to start with. And like I said before, on demo, you can't choose anything smaller than 3,000 US, but you can choose whatever you want when you actually fund an account. So we'll go at the bottom, 3,000 US dollars. You're going to hit register. And then you have got a demo account. You could screenshot the little thing it shows you there if you like. You don't have to. You can delete this in 10 seconds. You can create another one in a minute. So don't be afraid to push the buttons is what I'm trying to say to you. And like Marc said, when it's a demo account, yes, you might not be as disciplined, but it just gets you familiar with pushing the buttons so you can learn how to do this without accidentally sending your money in the wrong direction. And so then, guys, you're going to get a menu. And inside that menu, you're going to see a pencil somewhere on there. The Android version should be pretty similar. There might be a pencil in the top left corner. If you push that pencil, I'm going to get you to load sorry, don't worry about the pencil. That's if you want to delete the pairs that are there. Just go to the plus sign. It might be in the top right corner if you're on an Apple, and pretty similar on an Android. And then you're going to get a search box. In that search box, I want you to type in US 100. And the US 100 is what we are mostly trading on Dynamic Edge. And it stands for the NASDAQ, or the NAS 100, which is basically just a basket of the top 100 tech stocks in America. And so I get 2 options that come up there, US 100 M22 and US 100 U22. And I found recently that U22 is the most accurate to the scanner that we're using, because the scanner that we're going to look at in a second has got a feed from a broker. And I think that's the most accurate one. So guys, I'm going to screen share. Let me just log back into the scanner, and I'm going to show you from scratch how that works. So if you click back then after you've been on that plus button, you're going to see a list of pairs. Did I actually add it? I don't actually think I added it. That's hilarious. So US 100, and then hit the little green plus that's next to it, and then that'll add that pair to your list. Then when you go back to that list of quotes, you're going to see all the ones that were there, and at the bottom, you're probably going to see US 100. So if you touch on US 100, you'll get a menu that pops up, and it'll say cancel right at the bottom, and then details, chart, and trade. And trade on my iPhone says red. So if you hit trade, it's now going to give you an option here to actually place a trade. This is how easy it is to actually place a trade when you're all set up. And so I'm just going to load the scanner here behind me so that I can, let me do this. Let me do a screen share, and then you can see exactly what I'm seeing. And we are going to place the trade together. Share my screen. Sorry, bear with me. There we go. I'm going to share that. Done. Okay, so right here, guys, this is the dynamic edge. This is pivots, because when you first load our scanner, all these little menu options down the left-hand sides, guys, these are all the different strategies that are on hand for us in the Academy. We have chosen the dynamic edge, which is built on top of pivots. So this is the standard pivot scanner. I'm going to go over here, click strategy 1, roll down to dynamic edge. This is going to load the strategy that most of us are all running with. And then from there, I can decide to load the currency pair or whatever we want to trade. So I'm going to go back here, click on the I for indices, and that's where I find US Tech 100, and that is the NAS, which is what we are trading. And so I have not been looking at this right now. So for the sake of it, I can see already. So guys, I'm going to give you a little brief. So right now, I'm going to show you something. So right here, if these are candles. So what we're looking at is a 1-minute chart. So every candle here takes a minute to print. When these little black dots flip to the other side, price starts going the other way. And when this candle closes on the other side of this line with one other indication behind the scenes, we're going to get a little triangle like this green one, but it'll be a red one. And that'll be indication to us that price is potentially going to go down. If we get a signal at the same time, if you can see at the bottom down here, this little blue line that's snaking along the top, if that blue line crosses through 0, this midline, the same time as that signal, there's a high chance that it's going to be a decent move. There's a few other parameters. So there we've got our signal. We're in hopper mode. So right now, if you were to look, there's other reasons for me to think these blue bands around the outside, they're closing in, which you can probably see. If they were expanding, that's one of the rules for us to enter a trade. So if we were to push sell right now, odds are price is probably not going to go anywhere. So we might just have to wait for like another time frame to catch up with us. But the reason why we could see this coming right here, that price is going to go down, is a thing called divergence. And this is a little bit more advanced, but when you learn divergence, guys, it is going to change your life in terms of how you manage any investment that you have and how you trade. And so you can see here, these bands not expanding, they're closing in, price is just still going sideways as opposed to dropping radically towards this target. So there's a predetermined target here. This trade still might play out. I'm going to look at the 3-minute chart just to get a little bit of an idea of what's going on. So now every candle here is worth 3 minutes of time. So we've got 2 minutes left on this candle. See, we just bumped into this green line. That's a bit of a wall for us. And so the fact that price came down and is sitting on top, it's not quite ready to drop. And so you can see here, when the markets opened in London, what time am I looking at? If I change my time zone down here, I bet you London, well, the time in London over there, 8 a.m. Is that right? What am I look? It's 8 p.m. here for us right now. Let me look at my clock, and then I can get a little more of an accurate gauge of what the time is in the world. So yeah, it's 9:19 a.m. in London right now. So at 8 a.m. this morning, look what happened. The markets opened over there, probably a little bit after the fact, but 8 a.m. we can see a move. And the fact that this dot is outside these bands is one of the things that we really like. And so then this is just a 3-minute chart, guys. And so when you look at a higher time frame, you get a higher confirmation. And so price is still going up. It blasted through this target, but I'm going to show you that thing that we talked about with divergence. I'm going to go even higher. I'm going to go to 15-minute. I'm going to show you exactly how this can work. And if we see a setup on the 1 minute, and any of my guys on the team, if you're seeing, unmute yourself, let me know if something's looking good on the 1 minute chart for us to jump in and push a button. And it might not be perfect. We might just get to you to push a button to see how easy it is. But if it goes in the right direction, it's a bit more fun. So looking at a 15-minute chart, that there, what do we say? 8 p.m., 8:30 a.m., there's a signal right there for us on London time, which is let's get it right. Let's put on New Zealand since most of us are here. And so that for us is when most of us trade at night, 7:30 p.m., where there was a move over here that started actually more, 6:30 onwards. And so how did we know that there was going to happen. Guys, I'm going to show you a thing called divergence, and this will rock your world. And so one of our steps in the process for Dynamic Edge, I'm going to drag this document across and just show you what divergence looks like. So divergence over here, one of the ways that we can see that price is going to go up or down, right here, we've got higher, this HL stands for higher lows. And so these lows over here are higher than those lows over there. And so we've got higher lows happening on the top, and I'll draw an arrow there in a second. And on the bottom down here.
Can't see your document, sorry there, Ty. Just can't see the document.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes.
That's odd. I know what I do. I will share my screen, not just what I'm, let me do this. Sorry, thanks for that heads up. I'm gonna share my entire screen, and then you will see everything that is behind me. So if I do this and this, now you should see are you seeing that? You see my entire window now?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so there it is there. So right now, this is great. Now I can click off it. So we've got higher lows happening. So what does that mean? Right now, these lows, let me make this line a bit thicker. And this is just how we can see that divergence is playing out. I'll make it red, stands out a bit more. So those lows right there, because they're higher than these lows, that's step number one, higher lows on the top. LL stands for lower lows. So what's happening at the bottom? This is called a MACD, it's called a moving average convergence divergence. It basically is telling us what the energy is in the market. And so because these red bars here are lower than those red bars there, we've got lower lows happening. So what does that look like? We've got this happening. So right now, as soon as this bar was no longer solid red, but started to turn around, that right there was our indicator. We saw that as soon as price over here dropped lower than this bar. So where was that? Where did that happen? That happened all the way back here. All the way back there, we knew that price was going to start heading up again. So it could have bounced off this, but it came a little bit lower and bounced off pink. And at that point, we wait for a signal. We've got very specific rules, but when that signal pops off, I just want to show you, this is a 15 minutes. So if you were, this is just on a higher time frame, seeing what's up. We trade on a 1 minute and a 3 minute. So I'm going to zoom in now. So I've already marked that up on the 15. I want to see what happens now. You can still see those lines. So they're still here, and you can see it's still the same sort of thing between there, that blue point and that blue point, similar, but I'm going to zoom in even more and show you how we could see this coming. Again, if I zoom in here, here's what's this. We've got lower lows. This is another thing up top here, LL. These lows are lower than those lows. And on the bottom, we've got higher lows because those lows there are higher than those. That's another indication the price was about to go up. What happened as soon as that red bar turned opaque? Price started to rapidly move up. But we wait until price is on the other side of this thick black line. We call that the middle of the road. So that's the 5 minute chart. So what happens there? Price, we get a signal, we have a target line, we have an invalidation line, which is basically our stop loss. So on this example, if we entered there, that 2% that we talked about risking, guys, that's this distance over here. And if we're going for the target, it's usually a 1 to 2. So there you go, 2.04. So right there, if we risked 2% of our account, that $10 here, we would have made at least $20 because the price ran up perfectly towards that target. So that's on the 5 minute. I'm going to zoom in and show you how much more accurate we like to get with this thing. So I'm going to draw a vertical line for you and show you that signal there on the 5 minute went off at, when I change the time, we'll see exactly. So at about 7:15. So on the 3 minute chart, what happened there? Do we see something similar? Same thing. We've still got these lower lows. We've got these higher lows. And then price starts to what? We have a signal over there 15 minutes earlier, and price starts to move into what we call a hopper. When this blue line crosses up here, this is all part of the strategy. We have a dot that's flipped to the outside, and we have a signal. And that signal went off on the 3 minute chart over there. And so price, again, we have a target line. It blasted right past that 3 minute target line. And it looks like now it's come down to the green and it wants to go up again because we've got higher lows happening and lower lows happening, which is over here. We've got those higher lows and lower lows. So we know already that price is on its way back up. The bands are closing in. We don't like that. So we're patient, guys. We sit and we wait for the right moves. And so I'm going to go down to a 1 minute because that's where we like to trade. I'm going to show you. It's a little bit more noisy, but when you're looking at it, you're going to see, okay, wow, there's our signal on the 1 minute. So when you zoom in here, 48. So that is a lot earlier. That was the 5 minute signal. So at this point, we've got our first indication here on the 1 minute chart. We have a signal. And I can see there we've got our same thing playing out with divergence again, but basically price crosses the road. We've got our dot flip, signal, and we're off. And so you could have entered here on the 1 minute chart at 6:48. When the 3 minute chart caught up, we bounced right off that middle line. Price ran up, came down a little bit, but at this point, we already know the 3 minute chart is in alignment with what we're doing. Really good indication. And then sure enough, later, the 5 minute caught up. And at that point, what happens when a high time frame agrees? See what happens there. We've got the 1 minute starting to make the move. So we've got our early indication. You could enter here, or you could be patient and wait for that 3 minute confirmation. But at 5 minutes, guys, off to the races. So what happened here? These target lines now are based on the sell signal, and those bands look like they're starting to expand. So let's see what's going on. Just wondering if it's worth doing it just to push the buttons. If these start pointing out a little bit more, it's something that we might like to take a look at. And so that 3 minute was still bouncing on top of the green. But yeah, guys, Michael, anyone else in the chat, if you're looking at this a bit closer and you're seeing something I'm not, I'd love to get guys to just push the button. It's pretty easy. But wanting to really just show you what we're doing here, because this would have been the place to enter this evening on this buy. And things are more likely probably going to roll back down and turn around that way. But I haven't done a whole lot of analysis. So I'm just going to show you, for instance, if we placed a buy over here when that signal went off, the stop loss for that, our 2% would be on the dot, which is there. And so we enter a trade there. Our stop loss is this distance. And then the target for us is usually at minimum 1 to 2. And so that's turning our 2% into 4%. And that's why I have that 14% on a week. And so I might only trade 4 nights a week, but if I'm making 4%, that's 16%. And so my goal of 14% is actually really realistic, even if I'm doing this only 4 nights a week or 4 mornings a week, and I'm making 4% a session. So that there, right there, would have been my 4% done. From entering at 6:48, I could have exited at the top of, I mean, it blasted right through that target zone and kept going. And I'd have no reason to exit until there's a dot flip, to be honest. And so that's down here, but then price is still going in the right direction. And I would follow this green and this yellow brick road, and it would still run. So what would have happened? That would have been 4%, that 2-to-1 ratio. What if we stayed in this trade until, let's say, this dot flip up here? So you could have exited here, but if a higher time frame agrees, this is the thing. If you reference the higher time frame and you see something, see, we haven't had a signal or a dot flip on the 3 minute until all the way up here. And so if I drag this over, guys, this is how most of us can sometimes trade. If I drag this over to here, you're going to see what kind of rewards you can get in this. And so let's bring this down. Let's keep it realistic. So that dot flipped, and when that dot flipped, that candle was actually down here. So if we rode this up and you waited for this dot to flip, that would have been on this candle. And so over there, what is that? 5.73 to 1. So that's turning your 2% into at least 10% on that one trade in one night. And so that's what I mean by this is possible. I sometimes hit my weekly goal in one night, but it's all about being highly conservative and waiting for the right moves. And so with this, with a 1 minute signal, a 3 minute confirmation right there, you can see that 3 minute one. And then again, and even if you entered on the 3, the dot would have been, the entry would have been different. But most of us will love to get the 1, wait for the 3 to stay in. And if the 5 minute lines up, guys, you can see what happens with the 5. So, I mean, sorry, this is the 3. We still haven't even got a sell signal on the 3. So you could still be hanging out in this trade all the way until you cross this black line. But to be conservative, if we exited as soon as that dot flipped on the 3 minute, 5.73 to 1, guys. So that's at least 11% account growth in one night. So that's a little bit of the dynamic edge right there. I want to show you how that works. I want to see what's going on here. We've got this sell signal. These bands are starting to expand, but I'm not seeing, let's have a look here. If that's lower, I have to look at some other stuff, but I feel like we're just bumping into that middle of the road on the 3 minute. And I just don't want you to push the button the wrong direction, but I'd actually rather you just push the button. So see, price has got to get through these 2 walls for us to actually drop back down. And so it looks like we're getting close. Price has started to roll over a little bit. Energy's coming down on the 3 minute. Let's have a look at the 5 just to get a bit of context, see where these candles are going to close. And this is what we got. This is what our team does, guys. We're actually on Zoom actively trading like this in the evenings and also in the mornings. And so doing this in community is what changes everything. It's not just me looking at this, trying to remember, okay, divergence, a dot flip, and etc. We have multiple eyes looking at this and being aware of what's going on. And so we have a dot flip on the 5. Looks like that candle's closing in 4 minutes. So that one's closed over there. just referencing what's going on. And we're of time as well. I don't want to keep you guys this evening. Just wanted to give you a little demo of what it looks like and how realistic this is. Most of our guys, most of our team trades here, London Open, and you get wonderful moves. So right now we've had a big, wonderful move already. And so now price, after a big move, usually goes to what we call range, where price doesn't really like to go anywhere, kind of goes sideways. And we call ranger danger. If price is going sideways, we wait very patiently. And so you can kind of see it's just been going in this channel here, not really going anywhere. It's actually started to drop because we've got, what we did have here was a higher high. That means we're going up, and a higher low, but we've now got some lower highs, but we're yet to make what looks like a lower, well, we've got a lower low from that point. So price could start to be coming down, but what I don't like is these bands closing in like that. So we're getting close, getting really, really close, but I think something else, Michael, I don't know what you're seeing right now, but price might want to keep going up on a bit of see the 15-minute guys right there is still following the yellow brick road, and the target on the 15-minute, as you can see, is still way, way, way up there. So I know Michael likes to trade like this. So we call it scalping our way into a swing trade. So if he's waiting for this target, which I know he's probably entered in at London Open earlier, and if you're waiting for that target on the 15-minute, you entered on the 1, but you see a buy signal on the 15, and it's still in the trade with a target up there, that'd be 11.84 to 1. Not bad. If you're turning 2% into whatever it is times 11, 23%-ish, almost 24, I believe. So that's what's possible, guys. That's just, yeah. So based on this, 15-minute is still is saying up. I would not be, if the bigger trend is up, I wouldn't be personally entering any sells unless everything lined up in a big way. And so just having a little look-see here. Sorry, now I've got this massive thing in the wrong place. But yeah, guys, just want to give you a little demo this evening of what's possible. Obviously, there's a little bit to learn with this strategy, but like anything, like you can't expect incredible results without, putting in some study. And so inside the Academy, we've got in here, this is what I'll share this quickly. This is where we go and actually learn everything. So under Academies, this is called im.center. I'm going to come in here, it's going to load. So I've got an elite pack, which kind of gives me access to everything. I'm still looking at crypto stuff, TBX stuff, time-based trading. We have a brand new whole travel thing that's just launched, which is amazing. But I'm going to click into Learn Forex Trading in English. And inside of here, you're going to see, this is right from the beginning. I mean, guys, my parents are actually learning this. My dad is trading, my mom's into crypto. And so I actually didn't check if they're on the Zoom with us this evening, but they've worked their way through these videos. And so you've got FRX 101. What is Forex? History of Forex. What is traded in Forex? And these videos are anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes long. A few longer ones that get into more detail, but you can come camp out here for a few hours and get all the foundations baked into you. Then you're going to go over into goLIVE. And this is, like I said, the heartbeat of the Academy. I'm going to click on the FRX Academy in here. And this is where we find James. So James Leone is our educator that we've linked up with, that we are enjoying the most right now. He's live here 3 times a week. Like I said, 5 a.m. for us in New Zealand, 2 mornings a week, and then 9. And all the sessions are recorded. So I'm just giving you a little look at this while I'm checking to see what's going on here, because we might be going back up again. But let's have a look. Let's have a look. Yeah, you see, we're below the middle of the road, but I think wants to come back above. So let's get this out the way and just wait. See, we're getting rejected, starting to turn down, but those bands are still closing in. So back in the goLIVE, you can see James's last session was on 17th. I think it's a holiday at the moment in America, and he's probably trading according to that. But we're going to go to his favorite sessions. So you can see recorded ones. If you missed one the last month, you can come back and catch up. Favorite sessions, though, this is where you learn his entire strategy. So after you put in a few hours in the FRX Academy learning foundations, you come in here, 27-minute bootcamp video, teaches you the entire strategy in 27 minutes. And then these other ones, basically there's a whole 1-hour lesson on divergence, all another hour on his indicators, all the funky colorful lines that look like spaghetti. Then another one on how to actually count the 6 things that we're looking for, which honestly, after a few hours, you don't even need a reference to drawing anymore. You just know what it is. And then just some extra tech stuff and some time frame stuff. But this is his favorite section where you're going to come and learn the strategy. And then after that, you just keep up with him live. And when a signal pops off, like when he is live, he's not calling trades, because that doesn't teach us how to fish. That's just throwing fish, and that doesn't really help anyone. It makes you a few dollars now. But if something happened to James, then we're kind of wrecked without him, right? And so the whole goal of this is to teach us how to become independent traders. And so inside of that, we are on when he's live and a signal pops off. So say this signal went off and he was on a live session. He would say, right, guys, we've got a dot flip. We've got the bands are not yet quite expanding, but price is going this way. And you'll start talking through the steps in the process and say, right, guys, this is a 5 out of 6 trade opportunity. Enter at your own risk. Another day when a trade was running, he kept telling us while the trade was going, lift your stop loss to this level, lift it to this level. Basically what that means is as soon as price starts moving in the right direction, and we've put that stop loss, which is that 2% that we're risking down here, you can adjust that while you're trading. And so if you were aiming for this, say price starts running and you want to lock in those gains, you can close a portion of your trade off and lock in your profit, but you can actually take your stop loss level and lift it into profit so that no matter what happens, if the trade goes straight against you, it'll cancel your trade, but you won't lose anything. You'll actually lock in a certain amount of gains no matter what. And so that's what a lot of us like to do as well. And he'll comment on that type of a thing if a trade is running in the right direction during his live session. So I'm looking here. You can see, look how this is just squeezed, guys. These are called Bollinger Bands, these green bands. They're just squeezed. And usually after a squeeze, you get a move. And so I don't know if anyone else, Michael's saying sell. So this might be an opportunity, guys. If we were to hit that dot with price, the dot would flip and we might be heading back to a buy. But right now, it's looking like it really wants to go down, but those bands are expanding. And so we've got to break through this pink line. And I'm going to look at another time frame. But if you've got MetaTrader open in front of you guys, it should be at the top. You'll see something that says, if you click US 100 and you click trade, okay, there we go. 3 minutes broken below the mid BB, that black line, that looks good for a sell. Just checking. 1 minute already got a signal for us. So there you go, bands expanding. So guys, do this. If you're in there, you can see market execution. At the bottom, in the middle, you should see 2 lines, boxes, a red one that says sell by market and a blue one which says buy by market. If you just hit sell, there's already a lot size in there, which is going to determine your risk, which you can calculate in more detail later. But let's have a look here. I'm just waiting. You see, it doesn't quite look like it's ready to break yet. Those bands are expanding a little bit, but price has just bounced off a line. And I'll just want to have a good look at this. So let's see. We've still got, from there, higher, low. Yeah, so there we go. Bands expanding. We're bumping into the pink, but it's looking good. Push sell. Let's see what happens. This is not risking anything on demo. So let's have a look here. You might need to adjust your lot size. If it's 1.0, you might need to change it to 0.5, like I just did on this account I just created. And so if you push sell from there, normally you would enter a stop loss first, but I just want to get you guys rolling so this works. So those bands are expanding. So I'm going to do this. We entered this trade. Look, this might go completely against us because we've seen the higher time frame is up. But if you entered somewhere here, I'm in profit already on my trade. And my stop loss would be the dot. My trade, the target line it's calling is down here, which is crazy. That's 4.35. Say it was even just 2.0. Say we're just aiming for that. So I'm going to put my stop loss level. I'm going to click on my trade, put your thumb on your trade, and then you're going to see close, modify. Hit modify. Right now, you can go to stop loss. It'll give you a number in there, but you can manually adjust that number. We could actually already move it into profit if you entered when I did. But I'm going to enter 11533, 11533, and I'm not going to put in a target. I'm going to hit done. Now I'm running, guys. We're running in profit. My little trade here is already $30-something in profit. And our target is coming. So anyone got in the trade? Let's see. I don't know if any of you guys are pushing the buttons with me or not. But so far, this is playing out nicely. Only 3.5 pips so far, but it's going in the right direction. So what I could do I could drop my stop loss. Yeah, Michael's in. There we go. Love it. So you could adjust your stop loss right now. So I entered at 11,523.5, which is actually a little lower. So actually, I got in a little bit lower than that. 11 point, where am I? That's now going a bit crazy. 11.2, about somewhere there. That's where I got in. So if my stop loss is there, if I'm going to adjust that right now, price is in the right place for me. Let's put it on 1.2, which is there. That'll be the purple line-ish. So prices come back up. If we're bouncing off, we've rejected that pink line, guys. That's a big deal for us. So when price bumps into a strong wall of resistance and flies away from it, that's what we're looking for. It's one of the keys in our strategy. And now it's looked like it's following the yellow brick road. That yellow line you can see in there, that's part of the strategy. And so I'm still in profit, but I'm going to adjust. Oh, let's have a look. It looks like it probably bumped into a line on the high time frame. We might get stopped out and profit. But let's have a look. So right now, if you're tracking with us, I know the evening's getting it a little bit on, but really just excited to show you how this all works and how easy it can be. So let's have a look. Price is still following that yellow line. I'm just going to look at the 3 minute and see what's going on there. And I'll probably wrap this up in a couple of minutes, guys. Just want to show you. So look at that. On the 3 minute chart, guys, we've got a dot flip and it's outside. We like that as well. Prices closed below the mid BB and we've got a sell signal. We're also approaching what we call a hopper, which is this, all the energy is coming down. And when it crosses zero, if it does that, that's a really good thing for this. That means you can see it's calling this as the target all the way down here. That would be huge. Let's see, that would be 6.53 to 1. We're not being greedy right now. If we get a 2 to 1, I'm stoked for this little demo that we're doing. So those bands still look like they're closing in a little bit, almost opening, but just really wanted to give you an idea of how this works, guys. So let's see, 5 minute is, see, we're still above that big black line there. So it wouldn't surprise me if we bounce off that at 509, when price gets down to 509. Let's go back to the 1 minute and see, I'm still running decently in profit. Now it's showing $75 on mine. So I've run down to 15, almost 10 pips. Let's have a look. So look at this, guys. There's no reason to exit yet. You could lift your stop into profit, or drop it, should I say, because it's a sell. But this is playing out beautifully. Currently moving, following that yellow brick road. I'm going to just do some of these settings and adjust the, I really don't enjoy the visibility of this. There we go, this thing. I want to get rid of the amount of intensity that is taken up on here. There we go, just to do that, get out the way a little bit. But look at this, guys, price is running nicely. I'm almost up to, there we go, $100 already on this trade. It's still moving nicely, no reason to exit. It's probably gonna bounce, it might hit something on a higher time frame, but that's almost 10, that was 10 pips right there ready, and it's still going. So I'm gonna move my stop loss into profit. That's what I like to do. I didn't do it a moment ago. So because I entered at 11,523.50, I'm gonna change that to 11,520. So I'm locking in 3.5 pips of profit. And you don't have to do this. But right now I'm doing it. So I've locked it in. There's 10 pips already, $100 on my demo account that I created with you this evening. And I can show you, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but right there, you can see that price is going, and yeah, what's it up now? $95. It's moving in the right direction. So moving nicely. And yeah, hopefully this is just showing you how easy this can be, guys. So like I said, the bigger trend right now is up, and I really don't like to take counter trend unless there's, you know, everything is lining up well. And because that 3 minute was confirming, we got close to smacking the dot there on the 1, but these bands started to expand. Sure enough, we got below the road, the black road, middle of the road, and we bumped into it, we bumped into it, we bumped into it, and we kept rejecting that line. Really good signs that we were actually going to go down. So price bounced back up and stopped me out. So I am now out of that trade because I probably put my stop loss too close. I made $45. So that there was not really, I wasn't looking probably at, where was I? Yeah, anyway, I moved my stop too close, but you can see there that even though I was locked into profit, I could have walked away, and that would have been the win for that trade if I was to do it that way. I would normally like to let it play out a little bit more, but that's the safe way, right? So I locked in some gains. What's $45 divided by a demo account of 3,000? 45, I don't know what that's going to be, of a $3,000 account, 0.015. So what is that? 1.5%. So that one little trade alone right there would have grown that demo account by 1.5%. So nothing miraculous on that one, but remember I got stopped out. If I exited earlier and I was at 100 when I was at one point, that would have been my 2% done right there. And so look, guys, that is all in the space of just sitting down right now with you guys looking at a moment. But if we were here at the London Open, very, very different story with that buy signal that came out down there. Where was it? All the way down there, and being able to ride that up from 11,444 all the way up. I mean, you could have stayed in this trade. I mean, that's pretty much 100 pips that price ran up. What we just did right there was 10 pips at a maximum, and it dropped back down to like 3 or 4 pips for me. But there's 100 on the table earlier when we usually trade. So yeah, guys, just a little bit of that. I wanted to show you. Love it. Michael's still in from the London Open. I love it. Really, really cool. So guys, I'm going to unshare my screen. That's enough of me ranting and showing you the ins and outs of that. But yeah, guys, just want to give you a demo of how easy it is. Like when you've got education, you've got live mentorship, you've got a community to do this with. It's changed my life and my family's life completely. Obviously, Michael, he's been in this for 20 years, and Marc's on the journey too, a few months in this as well. But just to give you guys hope that there is a way to cross over to the other side of the cash flow quadrant. It doesn't have to be buying real estate or something that's not as easy to get into. It can be as simple as, investing in yourself, investing in your education, and then from there, getting on a live account and starting with whatever you can. You can start with $100. You could actually start with $10. But obviously, if you start with a little bit more, that 2% is going to be a little bit more significant. And guys tend to break the rules when it's insignificant. And so that's what I love is, Marc's trading with live money. I did that too. When I first started, small amount, because I knew I would take it more seriously. But at the same time, just being okay with those small amounts with discipline, that's the key. So yeah, guys, just wanted to give you that demo tonight. Really appreciate you guys showing up and coming to hang out and get this demo. And have a chat with whoever invited you here. I know I've got a few guests that are here this evening and stoked to find out some feedback from you of how you found this evening. But for most of us, there's a whole lot of guys in the chat I can see from our team that have showed up. We normally have these Zooms on a Tuesday night where we're actually trading, and some of us are doing it every morning. Some guys, even in Australia, are hosting a Zoom for us every night. But there's an opportunity to do this in community, which is what I love. That's why I decided to share this with friends, because I didn't want to do it by myself. So yeah, that'll wrap us up for now. But you know what, Mike, if you've got any final thoughts, I'd love to give it over to you, because you've always got a whole lot more wisdom than me in the space with your experience. And so we'd love to hand it over to you for just some closing thoughts before we send us out for the evening.
Yeah, awesome, Ty. Hey, look, thanks so much for sharing this tonight. And, building wealth and learning to grow your money is much more fun when you do it with a community rather than doing it by yourself, being isolated. And, for most of you guys watching tonight, it probably seems like spaghetti. What are these squiggly, crazy lines? But all of these indicators that we're using are actually mathematical formulas based on historic price action. So they're not something that's just random lines. They're actually based on where price has been in the future, whether it's the last week, the last day, the last hour. And all of these indicators actually derive from the value that price is actually representing. So it's actually very, very trustworthy. They're not just lines where we say, look, buy when this line crosses that line. There's actually real momentum and energy behind price. And so what we tend to do is when we see a strong trend, we tend to hold those positions, and sometimes they can run for a long time. And so like Ty was saying, in fact, that buy he mentioned down at 11,440, I bought that about 2 hours ago, and I was up 4%. I'm still holding one position, and I'll hold it overnight. And so while I'm sleeping, my money is actually slowly working. When I wake up in the morning, it might be up another 6 or 7%, but there's now no risk on that trade. I can't lose any money. I've already made 4 to 1. I've moved my stop loss up. It's now locked in at break even. There's no more risk on the table. So for me, as someone who used to be, I was a banker, and then I was in building, and I realized that the most powerful tool as a builder is actually your hammer or a crowbar, because on the end of a hammer, you have a hook, and on a crowbar, you have a hook. And with that hook, it gives you the incredible power to lift almost anything. And that's what leverage is. All you need under that crowbar is something to jam under, and then you can lift a whole house with certain bars or with pieces of timber. And when you learn to leverage the power of trading and learn to leverage the power of compound interest, your money can actually work for you while you're sleeping. And so now your time can be free. You don't have to keep working in order to try and make up more hours. Actually, to learn to get your money to work on your behalf. So thanks for sharing, Ty. I just want to encourage you guys, think about what side of money are you on? Are you in that 5% or are you in that 95%? The only way to move to the other side of that line is through investing or trading. There is no other way now, because the average house price in New Zealand is $1 million. And inflation is going to be 10% next year. There is no other way to move. And this is a way that you can move to the other side of money by slow, consistent gains, slow, consistent discipline, and getting an education that is proven and it's working for us. So thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks, Ty, for hosting us. And again, if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. We'd love to share with you what we do. And we're going to be holding more of these boot camps, and we're going to be going deeper. So we welcome you to those as well. Thanks very much.